All right, on to video 2. I kind of played around with our decodable reader and it was not recording. So Miss Rehnquist is going to use her little camera, her desktop camera, and she's going to record decodable reader 29A. So that'll be on our YouTube channel as well. So you can go onto there. I was kind of hoping it would be right in with video 1, but you're going to have 3 videos to watch today for reading. The first video, this video, and then decodable reader 29A. And then you'll have your math video to watch also. So video, video, video. All right, so today I told you that we are doing our introductory to Cowboys. So let's look at some traditional things. Look at the here. This cowboy and the 2 little guys, could be his sons, are sitting around a campfire. They have a lantern, a gas lantern, and they're sitting around, hashing around a campfire. And if you look at the other page too, there is another man sitting there too. So maybe these gentlemen are teaching the younger little cowboys some things about a cowboy's life. In this picture here, this could be a grandpa to these 2 boys, but they look like they are sitting in a haymow. You can see the hay up here, and they're up in a haymow. Maybe they're talking about working on the farm. In this picture, there is a little cowgirl, and you can tell that she's got a ponytail or a braid, is walking her horse. She's leading her horse. Maybe they're at a rodeo. Maybe she's just walking her horse to a new pen. But there are many things to do on a farm. And then in this picture, if you look back on page 458, down here, these little tykes are learning how to lasso, or they call it a lariat, is a word for that. And maybe they're at a rodeo school, possible. So let's see what we have to say.
Oral vocabulary. Let's talk about cowboys. Share information about the hard work and the difficult working conditions. Share ideas about the protective clothing.
What do you notice? I don't know if you'll be able to see in these pictures, but what do you notice? This man here, he's wearing chaps. And cowboys wore chaps back in the day, and sometimes farmers still wear chaps, or cowboys still wear chaps. They wear them over their pants, so their pants don't get wrecked. Sometimes when you're out in the middle of a field working or in the woods, there's thorns and fences that might snag your pants. So these chaps protect your pants from being ripped. All right, let's turn to page 460 in your reading book, or you can just follow along with our lesson video. Today we are talking about suffixes, and remember, suffixes come at the end of a word. And we have ness, less, able, and ibble. Okay, and these suffixes come at the end of words. So let's see what we got.
Envision it. Sounds to know. Kindness. Ness. Adorable. Able. Toothless. Less. Convertible. Ibble. Phonics. Suffixes. Ness. Less. Able. Ibble. Words I can blend. Comfortable. Darkness. Careless. Reversible. Seedless. Sentences I can read. 1. Her sister felt comfortable walking in the darkness. 2. That was careless of him to leave his reversible jacket in the rain. 3. We enjoy eating seedless fruits.
Your turn. Your turn to read the sentences. Let's read sentence 1 together. Her sister felt comfortable walking in the darkness. You have comfortable, darkness. Number 2. That was careless of him to leave his reversible jacket in the rain. Careless, reversible. The next one, number 3. We enjoy eating seedless fruits. True story. I love watermelon without seeds. That way then I don't have to spit them out. All right, let's look at page 461. I can read. Look for words that have our suffixes ness, less, able, and ibble. I can read.
I can read. My family has a fondness for fresh fruit. Every fall, we pick fruit at Benson Farms near our home. Dad and Mom tell us to check the fruit for ripeness and redness before we pick it. They remind us not to be careless with the fruit. Needless to say, my sister and I are very capable of picking countless pieces of spotless fruit. We stay at that farm until darkness sets in. With some sadness, we head home. It is the end of an incredible day. You've learned suffixes ness, less, able, ible.
Now, if you go back up to the story, you can see some of these words. I see fondness, okay, ripeness, redness, careless, needless, ooh, and I see the next word, capable, countless, spotless, darkness, sadness, and our last word, incredible, IBLE. Words that have ness, less, able, and ibble. Let's turn to page 462, sequencing. Turn to 462, sequencing.
Envision it. Skill strategy. Skill. Strategy. Comprehension skill. Sequence. Sequence is the order of events in a story. Clue words such as first, next, then, and finally will help you describe the order of events in a text. Use what you learned about sequence and complete an organizer like this as you read The Stagecoach Driver. What happens first? What happens next? What happens last? Comprehension strategy. Text structure. Text structure is the way a selection is organized. Many stories are organized in time order. They are organized to tell what happened at the beginning, middle, and end. You can use text structure to help you remember what the selection says and to retell it.
All right, so let's look on the next page, page 463. We're going to read The Stagecoach Driver. And let's listen as it's reading to us and figure out what comes first, what happens at the beginning of the story, what happens next, kind of in the middle of the story, and what happens at the end of the story. The Stagecoach Driver.
The stagecoach driver. To start a trip, a driver helped the riders and checked the horses. First, the driver helped riders get on the stagecoach. He helped them load their cases and bags. Then he checked the horses. He made sure they were ready for the trip. He checked the wheels, too. Then he would get on the stagecoach and the trip began. The stagecoach driver had to be careful. The trails and roads were muddy and rocky. He did not want the stagecoach to get stuck or tip over. Finally, the stagecoach arrived after a long ride over the trail. The driver helped the riders off the stagecoach. He helped unload the cases and bags. Both the driver and the horses were tired after the trip. They needed to rest before the next trip. Skill. Describe what the stagecoach driver does before a trip. What are the clue words? Strategy. What steps does the driver take when the ride is over?
Your turn. Need a review? See the Envision It Handbook for additional help with sequence and text structure. Ready to try it? As you read Cowboys, use what you've learned to understand the text.
All right, so let's look at here. It says describe what the stagecoach driver does before a trip. There are some clue words right here. First, the driver helps riders get on the stagecoach. Then he checked the horses. So helps the passengers on the stagecoach. Then he checks the horses. Okay. He made sure they were ready for the trip. He checked, and then it says, then he would get on the stagecoach. So he helps the riders on. He got their bags on there. Then he checks the horses. He checked the wheels too. And then he got on the stagecoach. There are 5 things that he did just alone in that paragraph. Let's look at the next one. It says, what steps does the driver take when the ride is over? Finally is the cue word. Finally, the stagecoach arrived after a long ride on the trail. The driver helps the riders off the stagecoach. He helps unload the cases and bags. And then it says, both the driver and the horses are tired. They needed to rest before their next trip. So he helps the passengers get the bags off, and then he rests. All right, let's turn our page. Unfamiliar words, page 464.
Envision it. Words to know. Cattle. Cowboy. Herd. Campfire. Galloped. Railroad. Trails. Vocabulary strategy for unfamiliar words. Context clues. When you come to a word you don't know while reading, what can you do? You can look for context clues around the word. This strategy can help you figure out the relevant meaning of the word. 1. Read the words and sentences around the word you don't know. Sometimes the author explains the word. 2. Use context clues to develop a meaning for the word. 3. Try that meaning in the sentence. Does it make sense? Read like a cowboy. Look for context clues to help you understand the meanings of the words to know. Words to write. Reread like a cowboy. Would you like to be a cowboy or cowgirl? Why or why not? Write a paragraph. Use words from the words to know list.
And yes, you can write a paragraph. That'd be great. We all need to work on our writing skills. Look at our words again. We have cattle, cowboy, herd, a herd of sheep. This isn't the type of herd with your ears because you don't see the word ear in there. This is a herd, like a cattle herd. We have campfire, galloped, railroad, and trails. Let's read Like a Cowboy on page 465. Follow along, and then I will have you read it again. Like a cowboy.
Like a cowboy. What was it like to be a cowboy long ago? To find out, some people stay on a ranch. They ride horses, and they chase and rope cattle or cows. At night, around a campfire, they tell stories and sing songs. They even take a herd of cattle on a cattle drive. Long ago, cowboys took herds of cattle on long cattle drives. They traveled on trails that ran from Texas to Kansas. From there, the railroad took the cattle to cities in the east. The trail was 1,000 miles long. The cattle drive lasted for months. The cattle drive at the ranch today lasts only a day or two. Still, the cattle drive gives people an idea of what it was like to be a cowboy. They can imagine how hard the cowboys worked on the trail. They can imagine how happy the cowboys were as they galloped into town after a long cattle drive.
Your turn. Need a review? For more help with using context clues to help you find the meanings of unfamiliar words, see Words on page W.7. Ready to try it? Read Cowboys on pages 466 to 487.
All right, let's reread this story together. Like a cowboy. What was it like to be a cowboy long ago? To find out, some people stay on a ranch. They ride horses, and they chase and rope cattle or cows. At night, around a campfire, they tell stories and sing songs. They even take a herd of cattle on a cattle drive. Long ago, cowboys took herds of cattle on long cattle drives. They traveled on trails that ran from Texas to Kansas. From there, the railroad took the cattle to cities in the east. The trail was 1,000 miles long. The cattle drive lasted for months. The cattle drive at the ranch today lasts only a day or two. Still, the cattle drive gives people an idea of what it was like to be a cowboy. They imagine how hard the cowboys worked on the trail. They can imagine how happy the cowboys were as they galloped into town after a long cattle drive. Now, I know that in Montana, where my aunt lives, every year they have a traditional cattle drive. And they round up cattle and they bring them in, and the cowboys are on their horses, and it's kind of like a celebration, so to say. But a traditional celebration, the cattle come right into Billings. So I've been out there one year when they did that, and it's really fascinating to see the cows being controlled by the cowboys on their horses. I think it'd be kind of cool to go back in time and do that. So today, that's all we're doing for our videos. Make sure you look for our Decodable Reader 29A, okay? And listen as Miss Ringquist reads that to you. Tomorrow, we will start our story, Cowboys, and that'll be on 466. You may also, like it said on this other page back here, write a paragraph. Maybe you want to write me a letter or something, but it says, would you like to be a cowboy or a cowgirl? Why or why not? Write a paragraph. Use some of the words from the Words to Know list. All right, I hope you have a great Tuesday. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.